Please like and subscribe, and go to prophotoedits.com where you can download my Lightroom presets and Photoshop actions so you can follow along with this edit. What's up, guys? Today we're going to be going straight out of the camera from this to this with my Lightroom presets and Photoshop actions, and I'm going to make it real simple on you guys today. It's really nice and quick and easy put together for you guys. So the raws in the description as always. This is Nikon Z7 and the 58mm 1.4G on the FTZ adapter, and we'll go behind the scenes here and I'll show you a little bit of the background for this. So there I am, setting up the scene in my little studio set up in my basement. It wasn't anything crazy today. We had a beach trip planned, but the weather dropped from like 70 degrees to 40 degrees, and I wasn't going to drive out to Virginia Beach and put her through that. So I said, just come over to my house and we'll set up some makeshift stuff and just get creative and see what we have laying around. It's actually my wife's ottomans from upstairs. She didn't care if I use them, so I brought them downstairs, and me and Sangadi, I put up one of the canvas backdrops in the background. Just want to do something different. I'm going to try to keep these B-rolls short for you guys. My Atomos was broken during this shoot, so I was just using the GoPro. But this shot was lit with my 48-inch Celine's parabolic softbox. It's like the best, cheapest softbox you can buy, and I'm not saying it's the best just because it's affordable. I've had the best softboxes you can buy, and I don't know why this one is so great. The diffusers are almost like silk, and it's only like 80 bucks on Amazon. I'll put the link up if I can find it. Also, I'm using the grid on this. I always try to use the grid for more of a dialed in punchy light for dramatic shots like this. We got the ring light out and put a canvas on the floor, as you guys saw in last week's video, and this is one of the edits from that before I turned it black and white. For this shot, I'm just shooting through the leg of this chair. I have it up to the lens, which you can't see because we're not looking through the lens, but just trying to give it a little bit of something going out of focus in front of her. You can see the leg of the chair and the bottom left hand of that just going out of focus. So let's get into this real quick. This is just simple shot. There was light coming in from the sliding glass doors. You can see on your left, the lamp was just on for no reason. I just didn't turn it off yet from the table shoot. I'm shooting down from a step ladder with a 58 1.4G. There's a LED above me that's diffused and a ring light behind me. Nothing crazy. All right, so this is where we're going to end up when we're done today, and I just want to say real quick, the angles make these type of shots. Just play with your angles. It's not as easy with a longer lens. 58 is kind of reaching when you're getting crazy with angles. 35 is really simple to find cool angles. 24 even more so. All right, let's breeze through this real quick, guys. You have the presets if you've downloaded those, and you have the raw in the description. So just because we have blues and reds, I chose PPE toning 3, and what I did always first after I do a preset is I adjust the exposure and get it where I want it, and then I'll adjust the color balance a little bit too. I kept all this basically the same. I'll show you the adjustments that I've done down here. I brought the shadows up to 91 just to bring them out a little bit more. I brought the blacks down to -22. I gave it 2 on the clarity. The curves was actually perfect the way I wanted it. The calibration was exactly where I wanted it. The split toning was exactly where I wanted it, but I did bring the res down a bit because I knew what I wanted to do in post. 57. So -57. And so now we have something that's a little bit split tone. It's nice and punchy, but not overly so. And we're not going to do a ton of this, but I'm going to show you how to make it really pop and make it pretty epic in Photoshop. Okay, so you can skip over this if you already know how to do skin, or you've been watching for a while, and get to the meat of stuff. But I just duplicate the background, Command J, and then go into the skin and just slowly, I take my patch tool from here. I'll turn on up for you guys so you can see where my mouse is at all times, and just highlight stuff like that. When you have something as soft as the, or I should say as dreamy as it's not that soft, as the 58 1.4G, is great for like boudoir shoots because it's less skin work. So anything I'm doing right now is I'm just dragging any blemish away to an area that's close to it before we get in to do any frequency separation. So I'm going to drag like this line over here away too. That's the trick that I do. It makes people appear even more youthful. It works on most faces. If somebody's aging a little bit, which obviously she isn't, I'd stay away from that because you can make them look a little bit creepy. Yeah, just drag any blemishes that you see away. It's easier to do this first, and I'll just speed this up. That's all I'm going to do here, guys. Alright, so that's out of the way, and what we're going to do right now is I have in your action set 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9 of these compressed color toning actions that I use from time to time. You can try them out. They're kind of like bundled actions for a couple different split tones and hue and contrast all ran together, and you can adjust them after the fact. So this one I use mellow on this, and I'll show you. Okay, you just run that, and inside it has the different split tonings and adjustments that I use on a lot of images. And right now it's already giving it just more life. It's softer on the eyes, and it gives us a nice palette to work from, but it retains a lot of the colors. So on the color fill, I brought this down to 2% opacity. On the blue, I brought it down to 4. I turned the photo filter off for this one. Okay, so the first thing I did to this image was, as you can see from the color cast in the room, and it might be from the lights I was using, her eyes need sharpened, and I need to bring the white back into her eyes. So the first action that I have that I run is eyes and smile whiter. Run that action. It'll give you the instructions here, but I'm going to show you exactly what to do. Click on the black mask, your white brush tool, 100%, 100%. Opacity and flow for this, just because we can adjust the opacity after the fact, and draw over the eyes here. You can spend time if you want to and drag out all the veins in the eyes and stuff like that and repaint, but some people do that. I don't like to do that. It's just kind of over the top. It always looks fake to me. And then you can hit the teeth with these too, and it'll remove any color cast, I should say. So before and after, and if it's not bright enough, the opacity is set to around 60. You can turn it up, and you can always adjust it as you go. If you say the eyes are too white, it looks weird. So then I want to make the eyes sharper, so I go to Eyes Sharper PPE, run that action. As with all my actions, it'll give you the instructions. 75% opacity and flow to 100%. Click on the black layer mask, white brush tool, and just draw over the eyes and the eyelids, eyelashes too. And now click these on and off, and you can see that it's sharpening the eye. And this is, per lens. You got to understand we're going to do more sharpening later as well to the overall image. So you don't want to go too overboard here, especially if your lens isn't super sharp to begin with. It'll look kind of strange, but this is a nice trick for that. So now what we're going to do is we're going to pop the brown out of the eye. So I go to Dodging Method 2, and it's going to choose all your tools for you. I set this up. It'll choose the Dodge tool, and it'll set up the exposure and the blending mode and everything, so you don't have to worry about it. Inside of the eye, what we're going to do here is just give it a little bit of paint. And like I said, there's not like a serious catch light in the eyes besides the ring, so you don't want to go too crazy. And if you want it brighter, just Command J, duplicate it. Now you see we're getting a little bit of highlight in the eye, but I don't want to ever use that. We go here and click on the actual adjustment layer, and it'll bring up the curves. Now I gave you a custom curves, which is called Eye Color 1, and I like to use that on brown eyes. So now you see it turned the brightness to like a brown curve. So now inside the eye, it's a little bit brighter. You don't want to go too crazy, and it has some brown in it. Just turn these off, just group them together and turn them off and turn them on, and look at what we've done to the eye so far. Okay, and teeth. So that's step one. Okay, so now we want to make a stamp visible layer of all this on top. So Alt, Apple, Shift, E, and that'll put everything we've done in one layer on top. And now we want to go to frequency separation. And you guys that have watched this video before, or my videos before, know you can skip this part. So I'm going to leave it on radius 10 for this and just hit OK. And then open this folder up, go to the lower frequency, choose your lasso tool, and make sure the feather is set to 10 pixels since we use 10 as our radius. If you use 12, set it to 12. If you use 9, set it to 9. So just match whatever you're doing. So I'll speed this up for you guys, but only thing you want to do is just grab areas like this. Don't get too close to the eyes. Go to filter, blur, Gaussian blur, and then adjust. You see, if you go crazy on this side, it's just something you'd never want to look at. 10 is usually heavy-handed for me. Some people go really high on this. I typically don't. I like to do it in steps. 6.2, something like that is good. Hit OK. Choose a new area. I'm gonna do that again because it got too much of the hair. But you can fast forward through this and just choose areas like that. You can just go to the first one here since it'll keep your settings that you just use. The nose, I do it in small areas. I'm going to speed this up and I'm going to do all the arms. The 58 is pretty soft when it comes to skin, so I really don't do the legs. So now that I'm done with the frequency separation, just go ahead and create another stamp visible layer on top. And we're going to run lighten shadows PPE, and this is just going to lighten the shadows just a bit. And then we're going to go to contrast pop PPE. This is an adjustment that I've made to pop the contrast for you, and once you're done with that, you just kind of set it to, see, before and after. Set it to an opacity that you're happy with. I'm going to stick around 35 for this because there's still more to do. Alright, so now we got to start bringing things out in this edit and making things pop. So now we're going to go to dodging method 2, run that, hit continue. It's going to select your dodge tool for you. Make sure you're on the black mask there, and I'm going to go over here to where her hair is with these highlights. You can see it. I'll zoom in here. Just kind of draw over this. Every time you swipe, make your brush a little bit smaller, and just follow where the light's falling on the highlights of the hair. I'm going to do this first because her hair is so pretty and there's highlights there, so you want to really accentuate those. And you can do this this on different layers too, and then we'll run this action again just so we'll have control over every part of it. Same exact thing we just did. Click on the black mask, and now we're going to hit the highlights of the face. This cheek here, 1, 2, 3, pop. The nose, 1, 2. I don't want to go crazy here because, like I said, she's really well lit. Every time you make a brush stroke, make your brush smaller, and you can do this with the bracket keys, larger and smaller. Every swipe, make it a little bit smaller. I'm gonna pop her lips out a bit. 1, 2, under this eye, 1, 2, 3. Around the neck, the arm, just follow where the highlight is already going. Down this side, up this arm, the rib cage, 1, 2, 3, the hip, the lines in the stomach. You just want to pretty much follow what's there. You don't want to draw on somebody in areas where they aren't curvy because it'll just look ridiculous. Down the center of the leg, be careful with this. Back of the leg. Alright, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to run the dodging method again, and this is important for the background here. You see how cool the highlights are on these ottomans? We don't want to lose that, so we kind of just accentuate it a bit, right? We don't want her to be super punchy and then the ottoman get lost. Your eye will pick up on that. It'll look kind of fake and cheesy. We don't do cheesy. Just follow where the highlights are. Okay, so let's group these three together. Let's see what we did here. Pop the hair, pop the face a little bit, pop the arms, and that's where we're at with that. Okay, so now looking at the eyes, I'm going to run eye sharper one more time. So now we need some contrast to make this thing pop a little bit, and I always start with the eyes. It's weird when you sharpen the eyes and you don't do anything to add contrast around the eyes, even far away like this. So run eyeshadows PPE, opacity to 25%, flow to 100, white brush, and on your black layer mask, let's just zoom in a little bit, go around the bottom of the eyes. You can even hit the tops of the eyes if you want on an image like this. So now it's subtle. YouTube probably won't pick that up, but I guarantee you'll pick it up in the final image. It's giving a little bit of contrast to the eyes. Now what we're going to do is, I do my dodge and burn a little bit different than everybody else does. What we're going to do right now is run dodge and burn, and we're going to set the flow to 8, the opacity to 8%, flow to 100, and on this mask here, hit X. X will toggle between white and black colors, so you don't have to keep clicking background, foreground. We're going to be at the black color on the brush, 8% opacity, 100% flow, and don't go crazy with this. Just draw like one or maybe twice at the most, and sometimes I'll hit the cheek, the blush there, sometimes the eyebrow. I don't go really crazy. The sides of the nose one time, the edges of the hair where the shadows naturally are on the sides of the arms, the backs of the arms to set her apart from the stool. There's a lot of shadows here already, so I'm just going to kind of accentuate them. The fronts of the legs, backs of the legs, anywhere where there's a shadow kind of falling to outline someone. Here you can see like along under the ribs, this little line here that's already there, on the sides of the boobs, stuff like that. Just don't be heavy-handed with this. You don't want people to pick up on what you're doing. You just want it to tell a story on its own. You can hit the side of the nose one more time, above the eye there, under the lip one more time, and under the chin one more time, on this side of the nose one time. Now we'll turn that on and off. You can just pick up on it. It's starting to have a little bit of dimension now. And if it's too much for you, you can just turn the opacity down a little bit until you're happy with it. Alright, so there's not much more to go. We're going to add some toning and pop it and sharpen it. So what we're going to do here to do the final amount of toning, we've already toned this thing 3 times, well twice, this is going to be the third. We're going to go into shadow toning, run that action, and what it's going to do is, now this is up to you. This is how, if you like your portraits more dreamy, more airy, the black's lifted, but you want colors in your shadows, this is how you get it. This is one way to get it, I should say. This is the way I like to do it. So turn all these colors off once you open this folder, and you can decide what colors that you want your shadows to be. I've selected all the primaries here. For this image, purple looks really cool, blue looks really cool. I think I'm gonna stick with the blue, and if the blue is too light for you, you can bring it down a touch color wise, bring it up higher to make it softer. I wouldn't go that crazy. Stick right around in here, and then I'm going to bring this down just for my taste to about maybe 9. It just depends on how much you want in there. You can mix the colors too. You can add a green in there and then pull the green down. It This is all to taste. So now that's just giving it a little bit of extra flavor in there. And what we're going to do is complete image toning on top of that. This action just gives you one more punch to the overall image. And if we were to choose, you open this folder up and turn all of these off and then start to turn them on again. Yellow for this image is like, I would go to the yellow and turn it down to like 2%. This is just like things that people will only know they like because they like the image. And now let's sharpen it, and we're going to run stage sharpening. And what this is going to do is it's going to sharpen your image on 4 different levels. This is just going to sharpen everything up. I see YouTube might not pick this up. Before, after, you see how it's sharpened, and it's sharpened all these layers in a different amount inside one folder. So now it's not crunchy sharp, it's just sharp enough to be, you know, pretty. And if it's too sharp for you, just bring the whole group down a little bit. I think this image needed to be sharpened that much. Alright, so this would be done for me, but I'm going to show you one more thing that you can do if you wanted to go ahead and make the image a little bit more matte. And I do this to certain images. So I run the faded PPE action, and we're going to turn all this stuff off in here. Faded color 1, faded color 2, and just go to the faded PPE here, and you can turn this and adjust it to where you want it. See, I'll turn it up, and it's pushing the blacks just a bit. So a minuscule adjustment there. I'm going to use that at like 4, maybe 3%. You might not even be able to pick up on it, but I do little stuff like that. Just flatten this down, and I'll show you everything that we did in Photoshop. So that's after the preset. We toned it again with the mellow toning, and then we dodged and burned it. We brought out our hair. We did the skin with the frequency separation. We didn't need to do the skin perfection this time. We dodged and burned. We fixed the eyes. We brought them out a little bit. We whitened the eyes, whitened the teeth a little bit, sharpened it, and did one more layer of adjustment with the shadow toning, and then the complete image toning. We sharpened it. We added just a touch of faded to it, and voila, got a really cool punchy image for you guys. So until next time.